Well, we are playing a little Hoffball today. Let's just dive in and see what I mean. This one is called Hoffball 42121 version 3. The description on the page I got this from says, an attempt to recreate Johannes Hoff Thorup, apologies for that pronunciation, it says fact, but it's supposed to be fast-paced and relentless style of play at Norwich City, implementing the use of inverted fullbacks. Well, we're going to throw it into the Premier League and our Championship side and see how they do with Liverpool and Aston Villa and Ipswich Town. Now, the creator did test it with Norwich on a holiday season, getting out of 22 played, 17 wins, 3 draws, 3 losses, looking like a phenomenal tactic to use. So we're going to test it out with our 3 teams of Liverpool and Aston Villa and Ipswich Town and see how they all do. So now with that said, let's just dive into the Premier League and see how they fared. Well, taking a look at the Premier League, Liverpool and Aston Villa not doing all that well. 68 points for Liverpool, 72 goals, not great. 60 for Aston Villa and 66 goals. Wow. They do get Europa League next season, but it still hurts. For domestic cups, Liverpool losing out in the Carabao Cup 4th round 0-1 to Arsenal and getting to the FA Cup quarters and losing out to Aston Villa 1-2. And no trophy for Liverpool this season, losing out to Atalanta 2-all in penalties in the Europa League final. So all in all, not a great season for Liverpool. 6th place is not good. Runners up in the Europa League, you got that, but still, overall, it's not the greatest of seasons. Squad-wise for Liverpool, let's take a look. You can see 20 goals for Nunez is the top. 16 for Salah, 13 for Diaz. Does not look like much. 13 assists for Salah and Szoboszlai, and then average rating, Reece Williams is in there, as is Kelleher, but Szoboszlai gets up there with a 714. Taking a look at Aston Villa's schedule, Carabao Cup 3rd round, you're out immediately in penalties against Middlesbrough, but you get to the FA Cup final through Ipswich, through Liverpool, and play Tottenham and beat them 1-all in penalties. 2 trophies for Aston Villa this time around. Europa Conference League final 3-1 win over Besiktas. Overall, Premier League and Carabao Cup are awful. I mean, you do not want to be that low. However, you do win the Europa Conference League and the FA Cup. That's pretty interesting. Squad-wise, they do not have a lot of green, that is for certain, but 37 goals for Ollie Watkins is through the roof. 14 assists is not a high number, though, for Tielemans in assists, but you got Ollie Watkins with a 716. Data hub for Liverpool. You got fouls against up there, but the attacking side is just not there. The numbers are just not there. Passing percentage is Premier League average, crossing percentage as well. Defensively, you're covering a lot of the bases, but overall, it's still not the greatest season you've seen. 1.89 goals per game, only 1 conceded is not, it's okay. And then 0.88 XG against. Aston Villa, not even getting there. You got the dribbles, but that's about it. Defensively, wow, that is woeful. But 1.74 goals per game, 1.5 conceded, 1.35 XG against. Premier League stats, most points per game, Liverpool in there with 1.79, Aston Villa with 1.58. Most goals, Liverpool in 3rd with 72 and Aston Villa with 66, so not the highest tally we've ever seen. Fewest shots against, Liverpool in 5th with 267, Aston Villa with 362. Most possession, 58% for Liverpool, 54 for Aston Villa. Most dribbles made, Aston Villa with 682, Liverpool with 647. Best pass completion, they are in the list with 89%. And then most shots for Liverpool with 7, 403, 401 for Aston Villa. Those are pretty low. But now, how did Ipswich Town do in the Championship? Well, 4th place. They got into the playoffs. Unfortunately, they didn't win the playoffs. But, I mean, overall, not bad. They do win out in the semifinals, losing out in the finals, unfortunately, to Norwich 3-1. A fairly standard domestic cup run this time around. Southampton dropped them out in the Carabao Cup 3rd round 1-2, and they lose out FA Cup 5th round 0-3 to Aston Villa. So overall, we have definitely seen better seasons for Ipswich Town, but they do get into the playoffs, unfortunately losing out in the final of the playoffs 3-1. But knocked out in the 5th round, knocked out in the 3rd round of the domestic cup, so overall, I can't say it's awful, but it's still not the greatest. Wow, squad-wise, they have 1 in the green. But that is interesting. But 12 goals for Connor Chaplin is the only one in double digits. And no assists in double digits. Jack Taylor and Wes Burns getting 9 apiece. Leif Davis only with 4. He's satisfied too. And then average rating, Jack Taylor with a 710. Championship stats, well, Ipswich is all over this. Ipswich in 4th for 1.86 points per game. Most goals in 4th with 89, well off the 114, and that's through the playoffs. Fewest shots against in 4th, 367. Most possession in 5th this time around, 56%. Most dribbles made in 3rd with 883. Most tackles won with 1052 in 7th, best pass completion with 89%, and then most shots for in 7th with 520. But now let's jump in and take a look at the tactic itself. We start out with a sweeper keeper in defend, inverted wingbacks on support on both sides, ball playing defender on the left in defend, a central defender in defend on the right, Suga de Volante in support next to a deep line playmaker in defend, next to, or I guess just behind, an advanced playmaker in support, an inverted winger on attack on the left, an inverted winger in support on the right, and then a deep lying forward in attack up front. Positive mentality, in possession attacking with his narrow, approach plays pass into space, underlap on the left and the right, focus play through the middle, and play out of defense. Passing directness is much shorter, tempo is higher, low crosses and work the ball in the box. In transition, counter press and counter, and then out of possession, a high press line of engagement, a higher defensive line, trigger press much more often, prevent your goalkeeper distribution, get stuck in, step up more, trap inside, and stop the crosses. But now, how does it do overall for our three teams? I mean, Ipswich Town in 4th place is not bad. I mean, we've seen them better. We've seen them first and second time and time again. 4th place is not great, but compared to where they could be and where they're still scheduled to be at the start of the season, 4th place is not bad. They did get in the playoffs. They just lose out by 7 points. And as I usually say, if you took control of this, you could definitely do a better job doing your own match shouts, training, tactical changes, and then transfers and things like that throughout the year. You definitely could do a bit better here. Now, if we switch to Liverpool and Aston Villa, I will say you got some injuries here. So for Liverpool, Gomez and Konate both are down with massive injuries, and they had a slew of other pretty bad injuries for several weeks to a couple of months. Aston Villa had the same problem. They had a couple of 10-month issues. So that could easily say why they're so down in the tables. But again, I mean, the tactic just didn't seem to work for the rest of the team, at least. I mean, again, you take control of this, you could do a much better job here. Liverpool with 68 points, you could possibly get up to 73 in Tottenham, even maybe higher, depending on how your season goes. Hopefully the injuries don't hit you like they did here. But, you know, it's worth taking a look at if you have the players that can play in these spots and you have the want to try something new like this. But for this, it didn't seem to work as well as the 4-2-4s that we've seen. But you know what? Sometimes that just happens in these saves. Things go south and the teams go too. But that is it for me, Staffing FM, for the Football Manager blog channel, saying thank you as always for watching. Take care and enjoy.